Coming up on today's news, AEW are interested in more WWE released talent, WWE are looking to re-sign Braun Strowman, a review of last night's episode of SmackDown, and more. Now subscribe for daily wrestling news videos. I'm not asking. I'm demanding. Subscribe.
Support WrestleTalk!
Unless you've been living under one hell of a rock lately, you'll have heard that both CM Punk and Daniel Bryan have reportedly signed with AEW, which comes off the back of both Andrade El Idolo and Malakai Black making their debuts recently too. And it seems the train isn't stopping there, as a new report from Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter stated that both AEW and Impact Wrestling are interested in getting the services of one Buddy Murphy, our best friend, Buddy Murphy, who watches our content to keep up with WWE. Hi, buddy. Meltzer notes that this isn't clear on how far this interest has gone, or if either company has reached out to Murphy about signing with them. So, if this is the first you're hearing about it, buddy, soz mate. AEW World Champion Kenny Omega has also named Murphy as one of his dream opponents in the past. So if he were to sign with AEW, there would at least be one major star lining up to face him. And let me just be the first to say, yes, please. And now it's time to talk about CM Punk again, because this week might just be the biggest news week of the year. More details have since come out regarding Punk's rumored move to AEW since yesterday. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that the belief within WWE is that Punk will in fact sign with AEW. Meltzer wrote, "With Punk, a WWE source has said that internally the belief is that Punk has signed with AEW. There are a number of things going on behind the scenes that would indicate that, but nobody in AEW has confirmed it. And of course, they won't until the decision is made for them to go public with something of that magnitude." All signs are pointing to CM Punk joining AEW, but there are also some remaining skeptical, because, well, CM Punk returning to wrestling has seemed impossible for so long. Sean Ross Sapp reported on Fightful Select that his sources close to the situation have informed him that CM Punk has not put pen to paper with AEW as of Friday night. It seems highly unlikely that AEW will make a CM Punk is all elite announcement before his first appearance within the company, but you never know. Maybe they'll take a page out of WWE's book and announce that Daniel Bryan's cleared to return to in-ring wrestling on Twitter. I'm still not over that. Maybe the most shocking name to be released by WWE on June 2nd was Braun Strowman. He was as much of a WWE guy as you can get, but still WWE released him anyway. Now WWE reportedly has interest in bringing him back. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that WWE is interested in re-signing Strowman because AEW signed Andrade and Malakai Black and have been in talks to sign Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, which makes literally no sense. If you knew Strowman was a star and has name value and could make your company money, then out of everyone you've got under contract, why did you pick him to be released? It's like WWE have gone, why does my foot hurt? Why am I holding this gun? It's baffling. I'm flummoxed, flabbergasted, and other such words. Strowman was reportedly released due to the size of his contract, so perhaps if he is brought back to the company, it might have to be for less money, which I'm sure Strowman will be thrilled about. Something else that I'm sure both wrestlers and fans alike will be thrilled about is WWE announcing they're going to run a pay-per-view on New Year's Day in 2022, which is a Saturday. I'm sure absolutely zero people who wrestle or attend or cover the event will be hungover. And now it's time for a review of last night's episode of SmackDown in about 5 minutes. The show kicked off with John Cena, who came out and made some sports references about Cleveland. Yes, sports. The Guardians. He also said that fighting Roman Reigns is a chance for everyone to stand up for what you believe in, which I'm not entirely sure how that works, but sure, let's go with it. I'm genuinely quite happy for Cena that he's getting such unanimous babyface reactions. It's honestly quite refreshing. Cena called out Reigns, but was of course answered by Paul Heyman, who said that Reigns will answer his challenge tonight. After Finn Balor's return on last week's episode, he faced Sami Zayn here in a decent little match. Aside from Michael Cole calling the Blue Thunder Bomb a Michinoku driver, and then trying to cover his mistake by calling it a combination Michinoku driver Blue Thunder Bomb. Nope, it's just a Blue Thunder Bomb, Cole. Balor won with the Calp de Grace, that's how you pronounce it, right? Which is a nice win for his return. At least he's not losing yet. And then we got maybe my new favorite thing? Baron Corbin is backstage saying he actually lost money from the Corbin Fund that he set up last week, and almost verges into the heel territory, saying that he had to get the bus to the show. Have you ever been on a public bus? It smells But then he turns to Kayla Braxton and very sincerely just says, "What happened to me? And man, I just want to give Corbin a hug." There was more of this later. Then came not a good segment. Big E came out to celebrate his Money in the Bank win, and just as I literally thought, thank God he's finally away from Apollo Crews, he's interrupted by Apollo Crews. But before Apollo can say anything meaningful, he gets interrupted by Ziggler and Rude, who say they should be about the Intercontinental Championship for some reason, but then they get interrupted by King Nakamura, who then gets interrupted by Cesaro, and then everyone fights, but the babyfaces are just kind of fighting the heels. I can't describe how bad and convoluted this segment was because it was all in the staging and the presentation. The whole segment took place in maybe 2 minutes at most, and anytime someone was interrupted, they just carry on walking to the ring because I guess that's where you need to get to because the script says so. It's one of those things in WWE that just make you realize that no one is acting like actual people, they're just getting in place for their spots. What a weird segment. And then we head over to the Rolling Loud Festival, where I'm sure the crowd all want to watch some wrestling. Isn't that right, Rolling Loud? Make some noise! Oof. Our Quizzlemania best friend Wale introduced the Street Profits as Angelo Dawkins took on Chad Gable. This was a fun little match, but boy howdy did this crowd not care. And really, can you blame them? Dawkins won. And then it was time for Bianca Belair versus Carmella, and boy howdy did this crowd not care. Also, this is day 272 of me politely requesting that the merry-go-round be completely eradicated from existence because it is the worst move in professional wrestling. Bianca Belair won clean. Again, there was no reason for this match to exist. But it's okay, guys, because we're back to the new best thing on the show. Backstage, Shotzi and Nox are trying to fix their tank, with Kevin Owens offering advice, but as he walks away slightly, my man Baron Corbin finds him and apologizes for last week, saying he shouldn't have insulted him and it's a bad habit. Owens says, yes, it is a bad habit that you've had for like 8 years. You can't be surprised that no one feels bad for you. But Corbin acknowledges that, apologizing again and asking for help. Owens, being the good guy that he is, gives Corbin some money. But then, as he moves away, Shotzi and Nox manage to fix the tank, firing it straight into Corbin's penis. He rolls on the floor before Ziggler and Rude come in and steal the money that Owens just gave him, but Owens comes back in with a chair and scares them off. They're doing it. They're doing a Baron Corbin face turn. He's going to be in a team with Kevin Owens, and it's the exact odd couple pairing that could totally work from out of zero expectation. I'm genuinely quite into this. And as a singular segment by itself, it was competent storytelling. Shotzi and Nox fixing the tank actually led to something. It's Chekhov's gun. They didn't include something for no reason. Wild, I know. This is great. Edge came out to the ring next, saying he should be Universal Champion, before Seth Rollins came out and cut genuinely one of the best promos he's ever done. This was masterful work, switching from goofy to serious and back again at the drop of a hat. Seth says he wants to crush all of Edge's dreams, and they brawl, with Seth just managing to avoid a spear. This was good stuff. Toni Storm made her SmackDown debut next against Zelina Vega. I sure am glad Vega came back to WWE for all those plans they've got for her. She lost here, obviously, with Storm hitting the Storm 1 for the win in a few minutes. This was alright. We got Jimmy Uso versus Dominic Mysterio next, for some reason, and after some fun back and forth, Jimmy Uso won in the same manner as at Money in the Bank, rolling up Dominic with Jay assisting. I mean, it was okay, but this didn't further anything from Money in the Bank. Roman Reigns came out and posed with the Usos as the bloodline holds all the gold, which was cool. Which led into the final segment of Reigns answering Cena's challenge, and after he compared him to the missionary position, which was 100% a Paul Heyman line, he said Cena was a nostalgia act, not worth his time, and he rejected his challenge. But then, out came Finn Balor. Balor came down to the ring and said, if you're not interested in Cena's challenge, then maybe you'll be interested in mine. After some advice from Heyman in his ear, and after the crowd chanted, Roman's scared, Roman accepted. So it looks like we'll be getting Balor versus Reigns on a SmackDown before SummerSlam, and then Cena versus Reigns at SummerSlam itself, I would think. This is a nice way to keep Cena and Reigns apart so the feud doesn't get stale, because realistically, there isn't that much depth to it. So that was the show. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and by voting in our poll on a poll match, where 65% of you voted for Balor versus Reigns. Okay, I thought this was a good show. The Rolling Loud stuff was just plain awkward, but Balor vs. Reigns, Baron Corbin's face turn, the Bloodline holding all the gold, there's a few things to be excited about on SmackDown, so this show gets a 4 out of 5. Now, I would highly recommend you all check out the latest explained video on Parts of Unknown about Malakai/Aleister Black and his transformation over time. It was so good that Black himself spoke about it on his Twitch, and even DM'd Laurie to tell him how accurate the video was, so it's legit, go watch it. Here's a little tease.
From the moment he rose up out of the mist, spat forth from the void, Aleister Black went after the NXT title like a man possessed. Foes were ceremonially dispatched with a black mass exorcised of their consciousness until he was raised up above all. But if you know your Bible, then you know that pride goes before a fall, and there aren't many people who fell further or harder than the devil himself.